Bakersfield College home games exclusively on CNNSI, Channel 52. Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. with encore showings on Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. following high school football. Hard-hitting, high-scoring, that's BC football. Brought to you by Motor City and Mish Funeral Home.
The following is a special presentation exclusively from Time Warner Cable, brought to you by the generous sponsorship of Motor City and Mish Funeral Home. Good evening from East High. Welcome to the Prep Football Game of the Week on CNNSI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. Tonight, the Blades, it's homecoming as they take on the Foothill High Trojans. I'm Mark Heffernan with Brian Adams.
Yes, tonight, Mark, they got homecoming, but more important, this is their first chance to really feel the league championship right here, at least a share of it. They can get a win tonight against Foothill.
East has not won a league title in football since 1971. Foothill needs to win to possibly gain a playoff spot.
Yes, and for Foothill, you know, you want to stop the slide. You want to come tonight, upset them on homecoming, and get going back on that winning track.
Paul Padilla has thrown for about 1,000 yards for East High. His primary target, Robert Johnson, who is one of the best all-around players in the whole area. Foothill is led by Taylor Myers, the quarterback. He can do it running and passing. Both teams a little bit porous on defense.
Yeah, and tonight, whose defense can step up, minimize penalties, and control the field position? That's the team that will come up and be the victor.
East High overall 6-2, Foothill 4-4. That's the game of the week tonight. East and Foothill from East High on CNNSI, Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
I'm sitting across from a person who's getting ready to write a large sum of money for an automobile, and I've purchased vehicles before, and I know exactly what they're going through. It can be nerve-wracking. The no-hassle, no-haggle price allows Saturn to be so much at ease with the customer and allows us to treat everyone so fair. It really doesn't matter whether you do a short-term lease, a long-term lease, short-term financing, long-term financing, or cash. Once you're in the Saturn family, you're in the Saturn family. I am going to see this person again. You see him at the supermarket, you see him in a restaurant, so we want to make sure they are completely comfortable with the entire process.
I'm Ray Mish, and I know grief comes in many forms. Over the past 40 years, the Mish family has given compassionate, understanding services to thousands of grieving families. The Mish family can provide all needs regardless of your tradition. It may be traditional funeral services or cremation, even counseling for pre-arranged funeral plans. We have 2 locations in Oildale and the Southwest just to help you, and that makes a whole lot of difference.
And a pleasant good evening from East High School on the campus of East, as it is homecoming for the Blades as they take on the Foothill Trojans tonight at a very important Southeast Yosemite League game. East is 6-2 overall this year, but they can clinch at least a share of the title with a win tonight. Foothill needs to win tonight and also next week, I think, to have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to have to show 2 good weeks strong to get their shot at the playoffs. And tonight we have Robert Johnson, who's one of the premier players in our area, and probably in the Valley with his ability to return kicks, punch both punts and kickoffs, catch the ball as a receiver, be effective from running the ball in the backfield, and also as a secondary player.
Now, we heard that Foothill was going to play him very tough, very tight at the beginning of the game. Bump him.
You know, and they have an athlete in the league who can probably match up, and it'll be a good game for both of them to show this stuff, because, you know, that's what it's all about tonight. 2 good players going head-to-head and see who comes out.
But Daniel Lee is a player that has been coming on of late. This is his first year of organized football. I think he returned an interception and also had a touchdown via a reception last week. And he's a guy who's primarily a basketball player, but he has those special skills. He has speed, he has jumping ability. He's 6'2". He started out this year playing defense. Now he's going both ways for Foothill. And he's a guy that can make things happen on the field.
Yeah. And he's an athlete, like you said. And you even look at the NFL and college, they put athletes in the secondary a lot of times so they can make plays.
Yes, this is homecoming to East High, and we have some parachutists jumping down on the field. And you can see the third of three coming down. Beautiful jumps on really what is a gorgeous autumn evening. Tremendous landing all the way through. And we appreciate you watching Time Warner Cable's exclusive coverage of high school football on CNNSI, Channel 52. And for the next 3 weeks, we're going to give you, the viewer, a chance to win something special just for tuning in. 2 passports to Disneyland. Sometime during the game, we'll be telling you how you can win, so stay tuned. That's right, passports to Disneyland. Let's go.
2 passports?
Yeah, 2 passports. You know, Foothill this year, 1,567 yards on the ground, only 787 through the air, 2,354 yards overall, number 11 in the area. They're coached by Ned Pimento. Defensively, the Trojans have allowed just under 2,000 yards, 1,200 on the ground, 755 through the air. That's number 11. East High this year has gained about 2,200 yards, good for 15th in the area. 1,094 on the ground. They've passed for 1,189. Defensively, they've allowed 2,054. 1,300 on the ground, 752 through the air. And a kickoff comes to East High, and the red and white. Both teams pumped up. It is homecoming here at East High Stadium. They are smelling the SC Wild Championship. But some work needs to be done.
Yeah, and already you see the effectiveness of Robert Johnson. They kick the ball to him, they squib it to the right side for us, picks it up and picks up some yardage. And they're going to have good field position to start the game.
Yeah, you want to keep the ball away from Robert Johnson if you can. He's a fantastic punt and kickoff returner. He does the thing with a wide receiver, but also he runs out of the backfield from time to time. And he had a big game against South 2 weeks ago on Time Warner Cable. Foothill pumped up early in the ball game. Jesse Monza, number 32, 584 yards on the ground this year, 6 touchdowns, a 5-yard average. He is joined by Brent Mooney, number 6, 252 yards on the ground, and 4 touchdowns. Ray Flores also running back. Paul Padilla, there's Dallas Plater, the defensive coordinator for Foothill High. Padilla's thrown for about 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. And Robert Johnson, 33 receptions, 535 yards, 6 touchdowns this year, 100 yards rushing. Padilla to throw, rolling out to his right, throws a long downfield, out of bounds, just in front of the Foothill bench. And that was intended for number 24, Robert Johnson. The other receiver, a good one, Galindo, number 22. He has 21 receptions for 432 yards this year and 7 scores. So you got a couple of good running backs and 2 wideouts. It's really difficult to double team either of them.
Yeah, and anytime you have balance like that, and that's why we see the yardage so similar in rushing and passing. And that's why they're a dangerous team. I think they've showed up this year in the league.
Put on defense with Troy Scott, Paul Brown, Nathan Jacobson, Mike Garcia, Todd Guevara, Ray Flores, and John Sturgeon, the front 7. And Foothill stops the run. The Trojans coming out pumped up. 4-4 this year. As their players are encouraging their fans just in front of us. It's punting time for East High. The defense is a key for Foothill tonight. East has been rolling offensively the last couple of games. In fact, both teams have done a good job offensively this year. Defense has been where they have been somewhat weak. And so the Trojans have to keep the ball away from Robert Johnson and company and force East to punt the ball very early.
And that's a big move early on for the Foothill Trojans right there to get a 3-and-out, force a punt. So that's going to take some of the edge off the East High Sting at the beginning of the game.
Line drive punt. Picked up by Foothill with 20. Breaks a tackle across midfield in the East High territory.
That was a Rivenez.
Rivenez. Now he'll be utilized out of the backfield, sometimes a wing back or flanker back. It was primarily a running back last year and early in the season, but they're kind of utilizing his speed to get to the outside. As Lorenzo Hernandez, a sophomore, has been coming on as a running back. Mike Garcia has always been a stalwart for Foothill the last 2 years. He's more of a north-south runner. And Taylor Myers, the quarterback, has had a solid year. 780 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, and rushing 323 yards. Rivenez to the outside, has a block to the 40 down the sidelines. He cuts back to the 15 and driven down. First and goal for Foothill. Boy, the Trojans have come up with a lot of emotion tonight early.
Yeah, in the first play, Rivenez is the key. You see, they're trying to find ways to give him the ball. Last year, he had 1,000 yards plus, and people keyed on him. So they had to find some ways to give him the ball and give him a chance to be successful. We see right off the bat, he makes a big run, and Robert Johnson makes a game-saving tackle.
Well, that run, he's up to about 500 yards this year, 4 touchdowns, 17 receptions, about 180 yards. So he can fly around the outside if you can get him there. And first and goal for Foothill. Straight handoff, goes nowhere. Foothill trying to pound it in. We will see the long run by Rivenez. And utilize his speed to the outside, running right to left. It's second down for Foothill. And goal from about the 9-yard line.
Here's the end right here. Rivenez will try to stop making a move on Johnson, but Johnson did a good job of settling down and saving the touchdown.
Have a good matchup, Johnson against Rivenez. This stadium is packed at East High. You talk about a standing room only crowd. There's not enough room in the stands. People are standing. Player in motion, Myers. Up the middle. And again, a 4 yards possibly. Anthony Hernandez, a sophomore, taking it to about the 5-yard line. It's hard to see from our vantage point. We're not that much higher than the football field. It is third and goal for Foothill at the 6-yard line. 9:08 to play here in the first quarter.
And Mark, this is a big play right here for the East High defense. If they can hold them to a field goal and force them to kick a field goal, you know, instead of a touchdown, to be great.
Rivenez to the outside, cuts inside to the goal line. Touchdown, Foothill. Ismail Rivenez used his blocking, was very patient on the run, and cut back. And he looks like a new guy tonight.
Yeah, and we had a chance to see Ismail a few weeks back against Stockdale, and we didn't see that drive. But tonight, he cuts the ball up, he runs through a couple tackles, and he kept his legs moving and got into a touchdown.
We've seen Foothill twice this year. I haven't seen him really bust up to the hole, and he's doing it tonight. So Foothill, it's Pater Perk, 6-0 over East High. Taylor Myers trying a PAT. And the kick is wide right. He scuffed it. 6-0 Foothill, 8-5-1 to play in the first quarter. As the Trojans have come out really smoking tonight against East High. It's homecoming for the Blaze.
Yeah, Foothill's come out throwing all punches right in the beginning. They come out with a big defensive series in the first play from scrimmage. And Rivenez goes 40-something odd yards, and then he finishes up with a little 6-yard touchdown run. So Foothill's come out tonight, and they're telling East, you better come with it.
Well, he definitely had an opening as he ran from right to left on that long run and set up the score. And Foothill has to play with a lot of emotion. They need a win tonight.
And there's a Rivenez that's running hard and getting his 4th and 6. That's what he's going to have to do to open up his outside game, is running hard inside like that, cutting it up.
I talked about the abilities of Taylor Myers, a quarterback who also is a kicker for Foothill. 60 of 120 through the air this year, and just under 800 yards, 6 scores. He has rushed for 5 touchdowns. His average of 5.8 yards per carry, 323 on the ground. So you have a quarterback that can run. You have a Rivenez, you have Hernandez and Garcia. At least 4 guys that can gain some real straight on the ground for Foothill. And of course, their key against a good team is whether they can pass the ball or not. So their defense is definitely a key. East has done it both ways this year. They can pass and run effectively. And they find themselves down 6-0 early.
And I think that's why East High has had some success this year in the league, is that they are balanced. So you just can't take away one thing.
Well, you know, if you're on any team, you can't overlook Foothill Trojans, coached by Ned Permetter. They've had somewhat of an up and down year, but they are still alive in a playoff race. And as long as they are alive, they're going to give you a ball game.
And you know a Ned Permetter team's never going to quit, and he's a good coach at getting teams pumped up for these big games. You know, like I said, if they win tonight, there could be a chance to force a 3-way tie at the top. We
were down there on the field prior to the game doing our opening, and Foothill definitely was pumped up. You see the guys were hitting, talk to each other. It wasn't a team that looked lackluster to me, so they have come out with a lot of emotion. I'm not sure they can sustain it for 4 quarters, but they're doing it right so far. jumping on the home team. And sometimes units play very well in homecoming. Sometimes homecoming is kind of dire straits for a particular team. So many activities during the week, you somewhat lose your focus about the football game.
And, you know, and East High's been behind before. They were behind against BHS and they came back.
Kickoff. Kick it. Robert Johnson does not take it to Glendo, I believe. He's up across the 30-yard line. They're trying to keep the ball away from Robert Johnson. They didn't kick it deep enough for it to attract him.
Yeah, and that time Monzo got it. And again, you know, you got three good backs back there on that kickoff team, so you really can't back to anybody. And you see Monzo made him pay, and here's field position.
East High with the ball, 8:45 to play in the first. They're down 6-0 to Foothill. Yeah, Foothill scored on the first drive thanks to a long run by Ismail Ribanez. Then they had that top 6-yard touchdown on a 3rd and goal. Remember, the Foothill stopped East High in the first series. But East High has better field position. And they're at their own 37-yard line. It's like a timeout for East.
Yeah, Padilla called timeout. They're a little disorganized, and that's a good move. Settle down. Got a lot of ball game left. They're only down 6-0. But we saw in the first series already, Mark, that on a couple of plays, Johnson was double-teamed and he was in the slot. So Foothill's going to tell you that he's not going to be the guy to beat us at times. So they're going to take him out. So it's going to be interesting to see how the other guys react, being that they have two good backs and Manzo and Mooney, who both do a good job of running and blocking for each other. And then also Galindo, the other receiver. So you got to be real careful when you're going to take away one guy.
Steve Scansel, wide to right for East High. He's not playing the game we did a couple of weeks ago. He was suspended for a game for fighting. That happened against BHS. Scansel this year, 10 receptions for 118 yards. Number 3 for East High, wide right. On the 1st and 10 situation. He definitely has good height, 6'1", 160. Dead motion. Robert Johnson. Padilla looking for him. The pass incomplete. Daniel Lee right in his face. You might have heard footsteps. Incomplete, second down.
You know, and Navy staff right there did a good job of, one, recognizing the first series that they're going to do some double teaming by putting Johnson in the backfield and then motioning him out so you can get the one-on-one coverage you want. He ran a good route, a good pass, and that's going to happen. Even the best drop the ball, but you know he's going to bounce back and make some plays tonight.
2nd and 10 for the Blades as they try to get uncorked tonight. Johnson slot right. Running play. East has not been able to run the ball yet against Foothill tonight. A couple of guys were on Johnson that time, and Foothill stacked up very well against the run early on. 2nd down and 10. 3rd and 10. 3rd down about 9 for East High. So you look at a passing situation. I don't think that a draw would be that feasible yet this early in the game.
You know, and it's going to be kind of hard to run when you got 3 defensive backs taking your 2 receivers. You got 8 guys there to stop the run, so it's going to be real tough.
Johnson stands to Glenn, wide to the right. Padilla to throw. Plenty of time. Fires it incomplete. Great coverage by Foothill. The pass intended for Galendo. Foothill had 2 or 3 DBs back in coverage, and some of the Foothill players trying to get into the face of Johnson. A little talking out there, a little trash talking.
You know, and that's common whenever you're a star player like him. One of the things that teams like to do is try to get you out of your games. You're not focusing on your assignments and running your plays. You're more worried about what they're doing to you and talking with them.
Well, Foothill was just playing back deep. Excellent coverage on the receivers going out wide right. 4th down, 2nd time tonight that East High's punted the ball in 2 series. Fair catch by Foothill. 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 32-yard line. So in 2 series, the Trojans D been able to stop East High's Bonds offensive attack. 7:52 to play in the first quarter. 6-0 Foothill as the Trojans get set for another offensive series tonight. From East High on homecoming 1999, we had 3 parachutists that landed on the field prior to the game. We had fireworks. That was really exciting. So far, no East High fireworks. Great fake by Myers. Inside handoff for the Trojans. Oh, he picks up 1 or 2 yards. Number 30, the ball carrier from Foothill. That'll be Anthony Hernandez.
You know, you said there's no fireworks for East High right now. One thing you have to do is they're going to take some time and figure out what to do, because you know they haven't seen that double coverage on Johnson in the slot, so you don't practice against that. So if the defense can hold them and keep them in the game so the staff can figure out some things and figure out some plays that might have some success, it could take a while.
Chris Schaefer wide left for Foothill. Myers on the fake, driven down the backfield. I thought he would cut upfield. He tried to go wide, was tackled.
That was a good play by Joey Hernandez right there, coming inside out and keeping a good angle and making the tackle, because Myers is dangerous. We saw him against Stockdale make some real nice runs.
That is a very smooth football player, Taylor Myers, number 14. And we have 3rd and 9 for Foothill at their own 34-yard line. 6-0 Trojans over the Blades. Homecoming night for East High. Foothill trying to spoil it as East goes for a Southeast Assembly League football crown. And their goal is to win their first football league championship in 28 years. Myers play action. Plenty of time. Ball downfield, incomplete. Johnson, one of the defenders back there. Ribbonez, the intended receiver. And he simply just threw it away. 4th down for Foothill.
And that was a good decision to get it out. He threw it when nobody could get it. Incomplete pass, you punt. You know, and this might be a chance really for Johnson to spark his own offense, but also his team with a chance on return to punt. And when we saw him against South High, he had 2 real good punt returns. So, you know, you got to be a guy like this, like kicking Deion Sanders.
He caught a pass for a score. He ran a touchdown on a reverse. He had a long punt return, a long kickoff return in that game. I think he had 3 touchdowns at least. Short kick. Johnson picks it up at the last moment to the 25-30. Dazzling moves, slices to about the 33. He was going to let it drop initially, then picked it up at the last moment. And great athletes do that. Sometimes it's a dangerous play, but he has superior hands.
Yeah, it's a play that coaches get nervous on, but it's a play that good punt returners, I remember when I was in high school,
You would do something
Jason
like that.
Oliver used to do that. You kind of wait, the defense sells, you pick it up and try to make a quick burst on him, and he picked up a few good yards on the punt return, so they got good field position on the other side of the 30.
On a play like that, the defense tends to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
1st and 10 for the Blades. In their own territory once again, their 3rd series tonight. Boy, Foothill is hitting. They're penetrating very well. The ball given to Manzo. Jesus, number 32. So they're really sticking.
And here's Manzo going in the hole. Now they're going to fill the hole with the defensive lineman right there. 73, Tyler Towery. So that's a good play.
Tyler Towery. Good hit. Foothill has been very tough against the run so far tonight. And they're taking away East High's passing game. 3 receivers wide to the left. 2nd and 7. Padilla to throw. Incomplete intended for Brett Mooney. He was open, but could not turn around in time. Padilla let it fly early. By the time Mooney reacted, the ball was a couple yards behind him.
And Mark, that was a good play, and that's an example of the coaching staff realizing some things what Foothill's trying to do to him and game planning on the field with it by flood the field on one side and send your back out, either one-on-one with the linebacker or a lineman possibly, and see if you can make a play. And they go real close to having a big play right there.
Now East has a 3rd down situation, 3rd and a long 7 at their own territory. They have not made a 1st down yet tonight. Padilla to throw. To the other side, intended for Johnson, incomplete. Great coverage by Daniel Lee. Riding his jersey. Cutting time for East High for the 3rd consecutive time.
Yeah, and like I said, they're going to have to figure out what's going on the defense. Until then, though, East defense has to step up and keep them in the ball game. And that's what championship ball clubs do. If you want to be a champion, sometimes you got to rely on your defense to say, hey, keep us in the game, give us time. Let us put something together, and eventually your offense will come through.
Justin Gillies, the punter for East. Getting a lot of TV time so far tonight. 6-0 Foothill. Kicks it away from Ribbonez. Goes to the sidelines and out of bounds. So Foothill has the ball in decent field position inside the 30-yard line at about the 26, first and 10 for the Trojans. Daniel Lee presents a lot of problems for Robert Johnson. He's 6'2", about 175. Johnson might be about 5'10". So he has the height on him, and Daniel Lee has excellent speed and good leaping ability. And he's going to give Johnson trouble tonight.
And you have a case of two good athletes. So when you have two good athletes, then it becomes the other athlete's will. And sometimes you're going to get them and sometimes you're not. But right now you have to really give credit to Foothill's defense. They came up with a good defensive game plan tonight against East High.
Taylor Myers for the handoff. Number 30, Anthony Hernandez, who's been the primary ball carrier for the Trojans tonight. Good run off the left side. Yeah, they have to find ways to get Robert Johnson in the open. He's not just a receiver. He can run out of the backfield.
And it may mean
talk about the punt return and the whole thing, but keep the ball away from him, though.
And it may even mean use him as a decoy for a little while, because you have other players that are very talented. They can do some things. So, but you got to give all the credit right now to the Foothill coaching staff and their defense.
Myers with a handoff in a short game, maybe only a gain of a half yard. Taylor has not kept the ball yet tonight on the option play. It'll be third down and short. Anthony Hernandez, a ball carrier for Foothill. On the ground, number 53 for the Trojans.
That's John Sturgeon, and he's a little shaken up, but he's getting up. And
he's one of their key players, plays both ways. Both teams have about 4 athletes that go both ways. And he is somewhat limping coming off the field. And a key member for the Trojans, number 53. 6 feet, about 195. He's one of those guys that works on both sides of the ball. Now, as you can see, Foothill does not have a lot of players on the sideline. They don't have a lot of depth, which has been the case for the school the last 7-8 years or so. In fact, last season, Foothill lost about 6 or 7 guys down the stretch. Had key injuries last season.
And you see at the end of the play there, Sturgeon's ankle gets rolled on, and it happens a lot of times in piles, and hopefully he'll be able to walk it off and come back, and it won't be anything serious.
They definitely need him. Third and a long 2 for Foothill. 4:25 to play here in the first quarter. 6-0 Trojans. Roda's in motion. He has the ball. Going to the outside. Great containment by East High. Cuts back and is drilled. Excellent pursuit by the East High Blades defensively.
And that's where they're going to have to play Ishmael right there, is to string him out and then let your secondary and your backside linebackers fill the holes when he makes his cut, and they have to punish him. And that's how you stop a back. You got to make him not want to carry the ball.
Galindo and Johnson swinging it out, and they're going to have a measurement. We can't see where the ball is from our vantage point. We're right next to a first-base dugout.
Short.
A little bit short. Hardly even a half yard. Give a couple of feet. Fourth down for the Trojans in their own territory.
It'll be interesting to see what they do on this series.
At the 37-yard line. And Myers looking to the sidelines. I know he'd like to go for it. Keep the ball away from East. Foothill will either try to punt or try to draw East High off sides. Now we have a timeout on the field.
Oh, and that's a break for Foothill right here with East High calling timeout, because you had the clock in your favor.
And East High has called 2 timeouts so far tonight.
That gives Coach Remender and his staff a chance to come up with some brainstorming on how to attack this. Do you try to draw them off sides? Do we go for it? The defense is playing well, but do you want to take a chance on giving East offense some life with the ball on the 40?
But this game's not working out like I thought it would so far early. East has been rolling in recent games with a tremendous offense. In fact, I think they had 5 touchdowns last week. All of them 35 yards or more. They're a big play team. Foothill has been struggling, but the Trojans have come out with a lot of emotion tonight. If you'd like a copy of tonight's game or any other local program, you can call us here at Time Warner Cable at 322-1941, 322-1941. We have operators standing by, just waiting for your call. The Trojans looking very crisp on offense and defense tonight. It's still early, 4:03 to play in the first quarter. It is homecoming for East High, but they are a little bit flat and having trouble trying to figure out Foothill's defense. They have punted all 3 times they've had a ball tonight. Looks like the Trojans are going for it. 4th and about a half yard. And they're on territory. What have they got to lose? Myers with a long count. Now he's going to drop back.
He's going to quick punt it.
Well, he's a punter for Foothill. He tried to draw East High offside. Foothill will call a timeout.
And they missed it. They might have missed a timeout. They might not have got it in time. We'll see. It's a dead ball foul. You know, and actually that really was a good thing to do, because if they could have got the punt off, you'd have caught Robert Johnson, not with his punt return team out there. So you might have got a chance, you know, not to be as crisp with your special team. But now they're going to have to punt, and East High can sub in the punt return team and have a chance to run one back.
Well, you know, a lot of teams do that. They go up to the ball and try to draw the other team off sides. And, of course, you have Myers, a good athlete, who is a punter on their team, so he can do so many things for you. He's a very diversified player. And
Robert Johnson moved up this time after seeing a short kick, and that's one of the first young men I've seen so far this season adjust to what he saw the punter do.
He's coming, and it's partially blocked. Takes a Foothill roll, but East will have excellent field position. That ball rolled about 15 yards. Somebody got a piece of it.
And that was Mooney with the block right there.
Brett Mooney with the block. And now a flag. A lot of talking going on there between Robert Johnson and some of the Foothill players.
And that's what we just talked about a few minutes ago. And this is where Robert Johnson has to use his head and remember that he's the man. And when you're the man, they're going to come after you. So right now he has to back off, and if I was even Coach Mayfield, I might even pull him out for a couple plays in series to cool him down.
East High's definitely coming.
And here's Mooney getting up and getting a piece with his left hand.
Great play by Mooney.
You know, in special teams, and now you get a great play special teams, you lose 15 yards.
That's right.
On a penalty. So, you know, right now they need to calm Robert down and say, hey, look, it's early in the game. We can't afford to lose you. Don't get caught in these battles that they're playing with you.
Well, Footill's been talking to Johnson. They're trying to get him riled up, and it worked that time. In fact, he was talking to about 7 or 8 guys. One-on-one coverage by Daniel Lee.
And now East is their last timeout right here.
Boy, East High showing a lot of confusion so far tonight. Not displaying the kind of poise we have seen from their team in recent weeks. And they're down 6-0 to Foothill. 3:51 to play in the first quarter. And one of Foothill's goals is to take Robert Johnson out of his game.
And that's a goal in any team. You have a player like Robert Johnson who is a special player. You know, and guys like him in Goddard, you know, those guys don't. Not every school has one. So one of the ways to neutralize him is you want to talk to him, maybe give him an extra bump when you're running back. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on just to get under the skin. And right now he's frustrated. He dropped the ball. You know, they're double teaming. They're doing some things. But you know, he just has to settle down, focus. He's a good enough athlete. And when I watched him against South High, he seemed to be a real intelligent player with how he picked and chose the way he ran the ball, and he ran crisp routes, and just let his natural ability take over.
So they had a chance at great field position. The 15-yarder drove back into their own situation. Inside the 40. Padilla, pitch out to Mooney. Foothill in the backfield, and they drop him. The Foothill Trojans had about 3 players on Brett Mooney. They seem to be smelling everything that East High is running at them tonight. I tell you, they have been looking at the film, and they have done a fantastic job in practice this week, caging East High offense.
You know, and like you say, what a difference a few weeks makes. This is not the same defense we saw against Stockdale High. You know, I mean, this defense is pumped up. They have a game plan. You can tell they believe in their game plan, and they're executing right now.
But Stockdale was able to run the football on Foothill. East has not. Shotgun formation for Padilla and company. 2nd and long. Out in the pattern for Johnson. He's got it. One-on-one coverage by Daniel Lee. And Robert Johnson climbed the ladder. First and 10 for East High.
And Mark, that's what I'm talking about with Robert Johnson. He's such a special player that he doesn't have to talk. When he just settle down and he has his natural ability. This guy's an athlete. Here's the ball. It's just a little quick hook and go. You throw the ball up. And Padilla does a good job of giving his chance to guy go for the ball, and right there, he creates a little space with an extra little elbow, but inside, hard for you to see, and he makes a nice catch. I mean, that's a big-time play. You see that on Sundays, you see it on Saturdays with college players, and he's a special player. Like I said, he's just to be patient and let the game come to him.
He's wide to the left, Galindo, and stands a wide right for East High. Shotgun formation for the Blades, first and 10. 6-0 Foothill, long count. And maybe a delay of game against East High unless Foothill jumped off sides. East High has called a number of timeouts tonight and had a personal foul penalty. This has not been the smooth Blade team we have seen in recent weeks.
No, but I think we're seeing a little frustration. I don't think that they expected to see a Foothill team play defense to stop them, because they're probably thinking we've been scoring a lot of points. Foothill gave up 35 against BHS or 33. They gave up 50 against Stockdale. So, you know, East High puts themselves in that caliber of team with BHS and Stockdale, so they're a little frustrated.
But Footill's ready to play a game tonight. So the shotgun, the ball handed off to Britt Moody. Powers his way to about the 30-yard line. Padilla operating out of the shotgun, and the handoff to Britt Moody. Nice run. Second down for the Blades in Foothill High territory.
This is a little delayed draw right here. He gets underneath, good block on the kick out, and then he just runs upfield.
Give that credit to Wade Flores on the run number 4. Second down and 5 for the Blades. There's a reverse to Robert Johnson, running right to left, cuts back, has the first down, great move, and deep into Foothill High territory. That was a very creative execution by East High.
And we saw that against South High, and went for a touchdown when he walked in, and this time picked up the first down. But also, they were in good position. It was 2nd and 5. They weren't 3rd and 9 like they were on the first few series. They get some shorter distances. When you're 2nd and 5, 2nd and 3, here's the reverse right here. Robert Johnson's trying to get outside. He reads his blocking, cuts up here. He just uses speed out, run a guy. Now he's going to make a move and make one guy miss and then get some extra yardage.
First and 10 for the Blades. There's a pitch back. The man's on the outside. Powers his length out of the 20 to about the 15-yard line. East High starting to get the running game in gear. But Johnson had a long pass reception to his left and a run from right to left. East High comes back this other direction as they're beginning to stretch that Foothill defense.
Then we have a flag here. And they call a holding, so we're going to take them back. So we've seen some 3 penalties on this drive alone for East, and we talked about it. Penalties are very distracting. They sometimes stall you out when you're in a rhythm. As you said, East High is a big play team. We saw the big play to Robert Johnson, and all of a sudden now things are clicking. And, you know, it's like anybody else. If you're a shooter, you know, you want to see that first shot go in, and then you're rolling. Sometimes a guy, he misses 2 or 3, and then he gets cold. So
got to get into that zone.
When you're a big play team, those big plays usually help you and kick you going.
Now they've had trouble focusing tonight, the East High Blades. 1:33 on the clock in the first quarter. They're still down 6-0. They have the ball first and long. Padilla from the tee, looking left. Looking for Johnson, just throws it out. They're almost intercepted. They simply stared at Robert Johnson the entire time. Really telegraphed that play. And the ball was thrown short. Johnson running into double and even triple coverage that time.
Yeah.
And they don't have other guys to go to.
You know what I like to see right now? You've got Robert Johnson in the game. He's made a few plays in this series. I like to see him pump fake to Robert and go to Galindo, because we saw the other game a couple weeks ago against South, and he can make some plays. He's a good receiver, has good hands.
Galindo's wide to the right. Actually slot right with Stans to wide right. Johnson wide left. Man-to-man coverage by Daniel Lee on Robert Johnson. Second and long, 2nd and 20 for East. Shotgun formation. Padilla, plenty of time to throw. Fires it into the end zone, double coverage. Almost picked off by Zachary Bolton of Foothill. Looking for Stansel. Great coverage by Foothill High. He just threw that one up for grabs.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen an East High player just wide open. You know, there's been good coverage on every pass play, and right there, showing to go up. He did a good job being a defensive back. But I like to see Padilla look the receivers off. Looks like right now he's picking one guy and he's sitting on him. So if he can kind of look and pump or move his eyes around, he might have some success with one of the other guys.
East has had a lot of third down situations tonight. 3rd and 20. The shotgun, Foothill coming, and they sack him. You look at Johnson, Delindo, and Stansel. They're all running 25 to 30-yard patterns. Nobody's running short.
No,
the Trojans were coming that time.
Nobody ran short, but again, that's what happens when you have those penalties. Instead of having the ball in the 15, you're 3rd and forever. As far as I'm concerned, when you got that far to go, because each time's going to, Fulham's going to put pressure on you.
Of course, I look at it in 2-down situations, try to get maybe 10 or 12 yards in 3rd, and then go for it on 4th down. But now they're 4th and 27. Shotgun formation. From the 50, screen play is incomplete to Britt Moody. It wouldn't have gone very far, but East High has to get their heads to the game tonight. Otherwise, they're in trouble on homecoming night, as Foothill is doing most of the hitting, not the talking. And the Trojans have come to play tonight. When I talk about homecoming, sometimes it can be a detriment to the home team. There's a lot of activities during the week. You're reading about how good you are on the paper. And East High has not come out with the flair and with the consistency they have shown recently. And they have to get it back. Number 2, Mike Garcia with a run for Foothill.
And right now, East High's offense is struggling. When you're struggling, you can't have those penalties. You know, a holding penalty moves you back. You had the other penalty, the 15-yard, and here's a run coming up. He cuts up, and then Moody's going to fill the hole and make the tackle, and that's a good tackle. You know, but right now, really, East High's defense has done a good job for that one big run.
Well, you know, you got to talk about the breakdown. After 1 quarter, it is 6-0 Foothill. This is the prep football game of the week on CNNSI. Time, Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Oh, no. No. What are you doing? Give me the bat. Stance is all wrong. Check this out. Come to Papa.
The Saturn wagon. With easy to maintain, dent-resistant doors.
Woo. The pitch. I'll see you guys later.
I'm Ray Mish, and I know grief comes in many forms. Over the past 40 years, the Mish family has given compassionate, understanding services to thousands of grieving families. The Mish family can provide all needs regardless of your tradition. It may be traditional funeral services or cremation, even counseling for pre-arranged funeral plans. We have 2 locations in Oildale and the Southwest just to help you, and that makes a whole lot of difference.
Foothill as we begin the second quarter play from East High School. Delay of game penalty against the Trojans, 3rd and long. Taylor Myers to throw. Flips it out to the right side, 30-yard line, goes Mike Garcia as he slips one tackle by Robert Johnson. And barely gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Punting time for the Trojans. So East High defense coming up big on that series. And the Blades will get the ball once again tonight. Robert Johnson with a chance to return a punt. He's had one big reception tonight. East High needs to refocus their efforts in this game this evening. They've done a good job defensively. Offensively, they've been a little bit out of sync. Myers to punt from his own 20-yard line. Remember, East partially blocked his last attempt. Wobble. Johnson gets away from it. And it goes to about the 27-yard line.
And just at the end of that, you saw a Foothill player give him a little bump. He's got to just get away from the ball. Once you wave him off, get away from the ball because you know they're going to bump you. You know that's going to happen now. They did it the last time. Get away from the ball because you don't want to catch up the game because you miss this game and the next one. So just get away, get back in the offense and say, okay, when I get the ball, I'm going to make you pay. Whether it be an 80-yard touchdown, a 5-yard run, but just play football. Do what you do best.
That's how you pay him back.
And do what he does best. That's what he does best.
Johnson, wide left in front of us. The ball on the left hash mark for the East High Blades. Back in the shotgun with Paul Padilla. And it's a movement on the line. And Brian thinks it's against the East High Blades as they're walking back. Now, he told me prior to the game there's no reason to have a lot of penalties this late in the season, the 9th game. Whether it's lack of concentration, I don't know what.
Yeah, at this point in the season, you know, you should know your quarterback's cadence. Shouldn't be seeing a lot of offsides. And you're going to have some holding. If they want, they can call holding on any level every play. But you shouldn't be doing the small, minor things like that.
The last time they had 4th and 27 East High. Out of the shotgun, the ball given to Manzo. And barely gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Foothill's been very tough against the run tonight. As East High, since midway through the first quarter, has been running exclusively from the shotgun. So they've changed that out a little bit. They had one long play by Robert Johnson out of the shotgun. But I'm sure the East High fans somewhat bewildered by their team's play so far tonight and by the intensity employed by the Foothill Trojans. 2nd and 12. So a 2nd and 3rd long situation. Padilla throw, looking long for Johnson, covered by Lee. Johnson falls down. The pass is incomplete.
And, you know, a lot of people sitting home probably think that's going to be a pass interference, but people have to remember the defensive back has just as much right to go run for the ball as you do. So if you run and your feet tangle up, a lot of times they're not going to call that.
Lee was behind Johnson on that pass attempt.
You know, the catch, Lee had good coverage, and again, Lee is staying on top of him, so he's not going to let Johnson try to beat him with the speed. Some routes they can run are they call a deep stop route. Johnson busts down 20 yards and just turns around and just throw the ball like a deep hook.
Well, Brown, the East High receivers are having trouble actually getting open tonight. Padilla throw again on 3rd and long. Overthrown, a pass. It's picked off by Foothill. Number 22, Lorenzo Hernandez, playing double duty tonight with a great leaping grab on the overthrow by Padilla. 1st and 10 for Foothill.
And here it is right here. Padilla lost the ball up. It's going to be over Galindo. And then it's just a great catch by Hernandez. And that pass right there to Galindo has to be a frozen rope low. He's got to almost hit him in stride right in the numbers as he can hit it and run. But a great play.
The one is only 5'9", not a big target. East High forced to throw deep a lot tonight with their 3rd long situations as Foothill's taking them out of their game. Rivet is in motion. Flags are down with 10:10 to play in the first half. 6-0 Foothill. And a surprising battle tonight at Blake Stadium. 5-yard penalty against the Foothill Trojans as they have dominated this first half so far against East High. And I'm sure the East High coaching staff will have some nice choice words for their team at halftime tonight. Try to get them going.
You talk about concentration. To me, it seems like it's a team that feels they're playing to lose. They don't want to lose the championship.
Got to go out and win it. Play action. Myers over the middle. Ball tipped in the air, incomplete. Almost a reception by number 2 for Foothill, Mike Garcia, out of the backfield. The ball was not intended for him, but it was tipped into the air, and Garcia almost made a diving catch.
And again, right now, East High's defense is doing exactly what if you coach Naples want to do. Keep us in the ball game. Yes, we're struggling offensively. We're not clicking like we have been, but keep us in there. You kept us in there against BHS when they were ahead of you, and you came back and won that game. And if you're Foothill, you're hoping to put a little bit more pressure. Let's get one more big play and see if we can get some distance between ourselves, because 6 points is not going to be enough, more than likely, with this team.
And Ribbon scored from 6 yards away with 8:51 to play in the first quarter after a long dash by him to open the game. And from that moment, Foothill has really been emotionally high for this particular ball game. Now, the Trojans have been an up-and-down team this season, but tonight they have come to play. East High not showing the same intensity that they needed to have coming into this game. And we appreciate you watching Time Warner Cable's exclusive coverage of high school football right here on CNNSI, Time Warner Cable Channel 52. And for the next 3 weeks, we're going to give you, the viewer, a chance to win something special just for tuning in. Hey, just for tuning in. What? 2 passports to Disneyland. Disneyland. That is 2 passports. Sometime during the game, we'll be telling you how you can win. So stay tuned. Keep your dial right there. We have a great game tonight. Brian Adams with Mark Heffernan on CNNSI, Time Warner Cable Channel 52. 6-0 Foothill. 10:09 to play in the first half. I know you would like to go to Disneyland.
I'd love to go to Disneyland.
You would love a free passport, but you're not eligible. Neither am I. Second and long for Foothill. Myers to be hit from behind. Throws a long downfield for Daniel Lee. Goes up. He's got the ball. Myers lofted it high into the air for Daniel Lee. Double, triple coverage by East High. But his size and his jumping ability led to that great catch.
Now, I was just talking about, just a little while ago, about Foothill winning a big play, and here it is. You have Lee, and there's Robert Johnson. They're both going. They're both going to get up. But really, it's a great catch, and kind of Robert Johnson kind of helped him hold on to it. But also, the ball was thrown on the inside. It went on the if it went on the outside, Robert Johnson made an easy play and knocked it away. So because the ball's on the inside, Lee had the position with his body and made a great catch.
Daniel Lee followed the fly of that ball very well. I used his size to kind of jump in between the defenders, 1st and 10. Inside hand,
he's throwing the referee down too.
Anthony Hernandez, and he was thrown down after the whistle, and he got a little upset. So the coach is going out to the field trying to calm him down just a little bit. Hernandez was
he's still upset.
Trying to get some extra yards that time. And when he got thrown down, he didn't like it very much. Dallas Plater goes out, takes him off the field, try to calm him down just a little bit.
Yeah, Coach Plater's working on him right now, and that was a good job also Coach Plater getting out there and getting them early. Now the emotions are going to be running this game. It's a big game. Both teams have a lot to gain by the win and a lot to lose, so and there's the push there. And there's the referee trying to do his job, and then he gets taken down.
Took the referee
2
down.
points or 3 points, whatever it is in the wrestling.
It's a dead ball foul. I still have to see that play again.
You know, and Mark, we talked about emotion and controlling your emotions. This time, it's the Foothill players who didn't let their strategy was to kind of rattle Johnson. One of their players gets rattled and ends up being 30 yards with the penalties. And we talked about earlier in the pregame, penalties in field position and turnovers. And now you sitting first and
37.
And 37. That's a long way.
Unbelievable. East High had a 4th and 27 tonight. And it's first down 37 for Foothill. Well, the Trojans have the ball. They're leading 6-0. Maybe that kind of play will pump up the East High Blaze. They need something.
You know, and you kind of feel you want the young people to keep their emotions and stuff, but you know, it's kind of an unfortunate thing. You have a guy who's running hard, playing hard. We haven't seen any indication for him to be like that, but you know, and he wants to play. Had a lot of desire and a lot of drive. He wouldn't quit on that play, never went down. So it's a tough situation for everybody involved.
Well, you got to have a little more composure than that on the football field. This is after the play, and even though the referee basically tapped him from behind. He didn't jerk him. And there's no reason to go after a guy and throw him down, whether he's a referee or a player. If you can have better control of your emotions, you shouldn't be out there on the football field.
Well, I mean, that's nice to say that, but we all know sometimes not everybody controls their emotions the same. You know, it's really interesting in sports. A guy who's naturally a calm player gets all the credit for being this most reserved guy, and a guy who might be a little more amped up, more of a person who needs to be that way and play on the edge, he gets criticized for not having any control. So, I mean, sometimes your personalities you get a bad rap.
Well, I can understand if you're going to the sidelines and a guy gives you a cheap shot 5 yards out of bounds. That's a reason to get that excited. The question is, what do you want to do for your football team? Is this going to pump up Foothill or East High?
Well, it may not work either way. I know it's going to put them in a big hole first and 37.
I mean, when you're ahead in the game 6-0, you gotta play a certain way. You don't want to do anything that's going to allow the other team to come out of their hole.
Oh, I mean,
that's where you got to be smart about that.
I agree with you on that. You know, like, it was a whistle. He felt it was, you know, his idea. The whistle blown, and the guy slams him down right after the whistle. You know, that's no different than the guy hitting you out of bounds. If you think the whistle's blown already.
I've seen a lot harder hits than that, believe me.
Well, I don't think it's about how hard it is. You can get cheap shot at 5 yards out of bounds, and it may not be hard. You might feel it and be upset.
Well, at any rate, it's first and 37 for Foothill.
And he might be ejected from the game, too, so who knows?
You got to realize those penalties, as you said, were after the play, not during the play.
Yeah.
A lot of discussion on the football field. Let's get back to playing.
I'll take that back.
9:15 to play in the first half.
Marcus not first and 37. Well, they got second and 37 over on the other side.
Well, a second and a long distance. We've got a 4th and 27 tonight now, second down. This is a very strange game, by the way.
It has been.
Second and 37. He's playing up to the receiver. Terrell Myers to throw. Here comes the rush. Screen play. Cut down in the backfield. Mike Garcia tackled by number 45, Andy Brown for East High.
This is one of the longest third downs I believe I've ever seen. At 3rd and 42.
See, I believe being aggressive on the football field, that's before the whistle, not after the whistle. 3rd down and long. 3rd and 42. Myers. Inside handoff doesn't go anywhere. We'll see who gets pumped up after that play. We'll see what team turns the tide in this game.
Well, he's still in the game, so he didn't get ejected, but he cost his team 30 yards of penalties, and you know, and I'm not condoning what he did. I'm just saying sometimes emotions run high, and that's whether on any level.
Well, obviously, it wasn't a benefit to Foothill. It's 4th and long, as East High would get the ball back. East High coming on the punt. Johnson has a chance to retrieve it. Goes to the right side. Gets a block. There's a flag, though. Cuts back. That probably won't count. There's a little dancing. And to about the 40-yard line.
Yeah, I think
but
you're
they'll
right.
bring it back.
I think you're right on that. He's going to come back, but it was a beautiful run, though, and you can see why he's so excited. Well, and they call it clipping. So that's going to bring it back. And again, here's the penalties. You know, it's another time when East has good field position and a penalty pushes them back.
I'll tell you what, in the ninth game of the year, officials should not have control of the game. I mean, penalties are determining this game.
No,
I expected a better play goal game.
They're doing their job. They're calling the penalties. It's their job as a player not to clip guys and jump offside. You know, that's just like you said. You got to be focused and disciplined. And we talked about this time of the year, you should have better focus with this. But again, both teams have a lot to play for, and these kids really have not been in a situation to win the league.
We're talking about playoff time here. East keeping their own territory. City and company. Bonds to the ball starts the right side with a short gain of 3 or 4 yards. We should have a very interesting second half.
And I think it's going to be, and the defense has done their job for East to keep winning the game. And Foothill's defense, I mean, they've put on one of a better performance we've seen this year defensively so far. But you know, Mark, neither of these teams have had a chance in this new league situation, two different leagues, to really play for first place, as BHS has always summed it up. So,
in fact, when East High beat BHS, it was the first loss in quite some time in a league game, going back to the South Yosemite League. And Foothill puts up the running back. That'll be number 4 for East High, Ray Flores. Now, the Trojans have been very good against the run tonight. They've been taking away the passing game, East High's long passing game. East High has so many third and long situations. This is about 3rd and 5.
and this is one of the shortest third down. In 3rd and 5, you can work with that. You have some options you can do. When you're 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, everybody pretty much knows you got to pass, and you might try a draw play or a screen, but you got to do some kind of.
Remember, Padilla for about half the quarter was back in the shotgun. Now working behind the center. Pitch back. The runner upended. It'll be punting time for East High. I think that was Mooney, the ball carrier. 4th down for the Blades. Foothill really hitting out there.
And here it is right here. Trying to come around the outside, trying to jump over him and get undercut and good tackle. And the one thing I like about I'm also seeing with Foothill's defense is when there's a tackle, it's also either 2 or 3 guys involved or 2 or 3 guys right there. So if even if the guy missed, it's still going to be for nothing.
Jump up in the air, a la Roger Craig. Another punt for East High comes to Ribbonez. Midfield 50. Runs wide right. He's going to reverse his field. Stutter step and thrown down out of bounds. .5:35 to play in a ball game. Here in the first half, I should say. Foothill 6, East nothing. Foothill missed that PAT after that early score by Ribbonez. I think get to the point now where anytime there's a hard hit that might be possible after the whistle, everybody gets all excited. The players and the fans, I think everybody needs to calm down and play football. Out to Garcia in the backfield and pounced on by the Blades. So Foothill silencing the East High crowd so far tonight. Homecoming for the Blades, but like we said so many times, you got to play 4 quarters. Many teams look good for 1 half, and it's a whole different ball game in the second half. Some teams here in the area have been very good in the 3rd quarter, which I think is probably the key period in a football game, even more so than the 4th quarter.
Depending if the game's out of hand. If the game's close, that 4th quarter is crucial.
Myers, left side of Hernandez, and he is drilled. Lopez with attack for East High.
Now, once again, though, we've seen Foothill, they're winning the battle of the field position, and they may not be moving it too often, but they're keeping East High pinned down so they have a long field to work with, 80-yard fields and 70-yard fields.
3rd and 8 for Foothill, 4:27 to play in the first half, 6-0. Myers to throw, off it down the right sideline, intercepted! It was intended for Ribbonez, and Ray Flores with a pick. Great inside coverage by Flores. East High ball.
And Ray Flores made a good play right there, closing on the ball. He's like a center fielder out there running down the ball. There he is right here, closing on it.
Oh,
good
yes,
pick.
Bernie Williams!
And Ray Flores has it.
So Foothill going for the score. East High comes up with a pick, 1st and 10 for the Blades, down 6-0. Plenty of time, but like they've been so much in the first 2 quarters, keeping inside their own territory. Padilla rolling to his right. Looking for somebody. He decides to run it. Dropped after a gain of about 5 or 6 yards. All 3 East receivers were guarded very closely by the Foothill defenders.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen all night long. Is they've been something like sometimes it's 3 receivers against 4 or 5 Foothill Trojans, and that rollout, you know, they picked up 5 yards, and that's one of their longest runs they've had.
East High 2nd and 6. 3:45 to play in the first half. It has been tough sledding for the Blades as far as getting yards against Foothill. Padilla, 2 running backs behind him. Ball given to Mooney out the way, caught in the backfield and dropped. Well, Foothill front seven has done a great job. Talking about Nathan Jacobson, Troy Scott, Paul Brown, Gabar, Flores Garcia. And we mentioned Towery earlier in the ball game. The key for Foothill tonight has been the play of the front seven, stopping the ground game, putting pressure on the quarterback, allowing the DBs to cover the receivers, and not allowing Padilla that much time to throw.
And East needs a first down, a big way to get the defense some rest.
They have had a lot of third down situations tonight. Padilla to throw, looking, throws it out, tipped away at the last moment. The ball counted for Galindo, 22. Johnson in the area. And it was knocked away. Fourth down again for East High.
You know, we're seeing East High right now really run a lot of flood routes, flooding with three receivers in the same area. And I think that's playing into the strength of the Foothill defense because they are trying to help out with Robert Johnson and add some extra people.
Well, they tried the receivers going in different directions. They flooded the left side, the right side. But the key for East High, they haven't been able to run the ball against Foothill tonight. Not hardly at all. Another punt comes to Ribbonez. Midfield 50 takes it on the fly. And driven down at the 47-yard line in East High territory. 2:33 on the clock in the first half. Foothill 6, East High nothing. The key for Foothill coming out ready to play, stopping the East High ground game and forcing the Blades to throw. And the Blades have been going deep quite a bit tonight. Padilla generally has had time to throw, but the coverage has been great by Foothill.
Yeah, they're only getting three receivers out against 4 and 5 coverage people. And, you know, and that's not your odds when you're a passing team. To have
My question is, where's this Foothill team been for the last 8 games this year? Inside handout to Ribbonez, has an opening. He's going to go the distance. Goodbye. Booming 20-10. Touchdown. Foothill.
And that's the big play Coach Premier staff is wanting. That puts some distance now. It's 12-0. And you have the luxury now being 12-0 to go for a 2-point conversion, trying to make it 14.
They made those runs last year. East High, their entire defense was within about 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. He made that cut, he was gone.
And in East High's defense, to be nice to them, is they have been on the field an awful long time in this half. Been a lot of 3 down and outs against East. And we've seen this before in other telecasts we've done. We saw with BC against LA Harbor, where you keep giving them good field position. They're on the 45, not a lot of field to go with, and your defense out there over and over. Those are going to happen. Your defense can't play forever.
And Phil's going to call a timeout as they prepare to go for 2 points. 12-0 Trojans. 2:23 to play in the first half. Ribbonez probably having his biggest game of the year.
And here's a Ribbonez cutting back. There's nobody in the middle. And now, you know, nobody's going to catch him. He has real good speed, and it's touchdown. You know, he could have walked in the last 15 yards on that one if he wanted to.
A 47-yard run for Ribbonez. Touchdown number 2 for him tonight. East High definitely burned on that particular play. As he goes from left to right, lining up slot left. Too many players close to the line of scrimmage. You talked about the fact that East High defense has been on the field quite a bit tonight. Now they shifted him properly on D.
And not only have they been on the field for a long period of time, but they've been defending a short field. And we haven't seen Foothill yet on either scoring drive have to go 80 or 90 yards. Both scoring drives are only about 55, 60 yards.
Myers rolling to his right on a 2-point conversion. Throws it into the end zone. That's caught. 2 points for Foothill. Anthony Hernandez with a 2-point conversion.
And he's trying to make up for those 30-yard with the penalties he got earlier. So
it was almost tipped away.
They're up 14-0.
Wow.
And here he is rolling out right here. He straight arms the guy down, composed himself. Now he just throws a strike in there to Hernandez. And good catch by Hernandez, staying in bounds. Great play. 14-0 Trojans over the Blades.
Well, Hernandez has had interceptions tonight, catches a 2-point conversion for Foothill. As they were surprised in East High with a 14-0 lead here late in the first half. The Ribbon is coming out of the shell tonight.
Yeah, and he's had really 2 good runs, but he also had a hard run for the touchdown. But he's getting the ball where he can be effective, and that's with some running with some space. In space, he's a great runner because he's nimble, has real good moves, so it's going to be a hard guy to tackle.
You know, he's had over 100 yards in 2 different carries tonight. Short kick. Kick to about the 30-yard line. Keep away from Johnson. And Foothill flying downfield. Did they bust that return man for East High? Richard Gomez. I tell you, East High has to figure it out. Foothill has come to play tonight. And they're going to have a halftime to think about it. And I'm sure the coaches won't just be silent in the locker room.
Here's the replay. Here comes the hit. Faces them up. Good tackle, and they just drive through and knock them out of bounds. Good coverage.
Well, when you run back at kickoff, you have to mean business. It's not flag football. 1st and 10 for the Blades. At a short gain, inability for East High to run the football tonight has caused a lot of 2nd and 3rd and long situations. East High has shown a lot of balance this year, but they have struggled to run the football at all, really, against Foothill. And that has forced them to throw the ball, and they've had trouble doing that.
You know, I'm always an opponent for throwing the ball, but we talked before.
Of course.
I don't see teams utilizing the short passing game. I see teams either try to go for broke or they just run all the time. I haven't seen teams really use the short passing game for exception of Stockdale.
Padilla looking to the right. Has hit. Does he fumble? Going about 20 yards field for Robert Johnson. Looking in that direction.
You know, and right now, Foothill is pumped up, the momentum. And you said they come out from the beginning. When they ran on the field, they had an intensity about them. They ran out, they were pumped up. The coaching staff was pumped up. They've had a good game plan defensively, and they're following it, and their kids are believing in the game plan. That's really what makes the game plan good, is the players believe in it.
Now you have to execute it. East Side trying the long passing game. 3rd and 8 for East. 1:37 to play in the first half. In their own territory. 5 points behind Padilla. Ball gets to Mooney. Hit and dropped at the line of scrimmage. I think East High's had one running play tonight that has gone more than 5 yards, but on 3rd and 8, they decided to run the football. And now they'll punt it again. Justin Gillies definitely keeping his leg warm tonight for the Blades.
Once again, I think it's a dangerous time for East High defense. Another series of 3 and out. And you gotta remember when you're passing the ball and you don't complete passes, that clock is stopping. It's not like a running game when the clock keeps running so the guys get some kind of rest. I mean, there's no rest when you're passing.
They're one of the few teams in the area that has more passing yards and running yards coming in. Tonight, they're having trouble doing either. 1:15 on the clock in the first half.
You know, but I read some comments in the paper about the players, and you want to be considered in the upper echelon of the city teams with the BHSs and the Centennials and the Stockdales and so forth. The one thing you have to do is a game like this, if they can come back, will solidify that. And for Foothill, you know, like I said, they can win this and be right back in the race of the league. So
probably have a tie for first in the SEYL. It's a must-win situation for Foothill. Maybe East High's not looking at it as a must-win situation.
Well, if you want to win a championship, it's a must-win situation.
Right.
So, and they want to, and you want to be a top contender.
But they're not
in the
used to
city.
being in that situation. They are now.
And they're going to get a baptism by fire tonight. Woo!
Gillis to punt. Line drive, kick it away from Rivenez, who's had a big game tonight for Foothill. Touch of the ball, picks it up at the 15. A little tackler going to the outside and knocked out of bounds. Rivenez showing his lightning quickness tonight for Foothill. And that has definitely been a boon for their team this evening.
And, you know, that time we've seen a Rivenez do it. He right here, the ball is rolling. He's going to try to field it. He mishandles it. He's going to go down and get it. And again, a lot of times you do that, everybody kind of slow down a little bit, and you got a little extra block, make a guy miss. Now get to the sideline, pick up a few yards. Again, those are the plays that make the coaching staff breathe hard. But as a player, you want to try to make him try to do something special.
Well, he's showing his elusiveness tonight. He has been somewhat silent for most of this year as compared to last year for him. But with his big runs, it seems like it has helped to pump up Foothill's team and give them a lot of confidence. The defense is playing great. The Rivenez is running wild. They're controlling the football.
And as a sophomore, he ran for over 1,000 yards. So when you do that, you're going to be a marked man. And sometimes it's going to take a little while for you to figure out how to get back in the
I've always been a marked man.
Yes, you have, huh?
There's the inside handoff by Taylor Myers and company. As Foothill will probably run off the clock. Going to the locker room with a 14-0 lead. And we will wait to see what transpires in the second half. Homecoming for the Blades, but it has been a happy homecoming so far. The crowd's been very quiet over there.
No, it's not the kind of homecoming you want, especially when you have a chance to clinch a piece of the championship. But, you know, like you said, they play 4 quarters in the second half, and you said earlier they're a big play team, so they have the capabilities. It's just a matter of if they can crack this defense.
I expect a lot of fireworks in the second half. I don't mean up in the sky. We had those prior to the game. We had 3 parachutists landing on the field. I gave them all high marks, no pun intended.
Yeah. You know, but if they can't figure out what Foothill's coaching staff is doing on defense, this could be a long night for them and a sad homecoming.
I like what you said about the short passing game. Eastside has not gone with the short passing game. They've been trying to run the football to no avail tonight, and they're throwing deep. And about a third of the time, Padilla has not had time to throw it deep. The coverage has been great. Pass underneath them. Do something else. They're going to have to mix it up some way in the second half because Foothill's kicking the ball away from Johnson on kickoffs and on punt returns. They're basically taking him out of the game.
Yeah, remember, anytime you got players running down 20 yards and 30 yards, you're talking about that takes 3 4 seconds. So, you know, the guy only has about 2.7, 2.8 seconds to pass the ball is what they try to tell you that your quarterback should be releasing the ball at. So if you don't have that kind of protection, it's going to be tough to throw the ball that far.
The score at halftime, Foothill 14, Eastside nothing. You're watching the Prep Football Game of the Week brought to you on
I'm Ray Mish, and I know grief comes in many forms. Over the past 40 years, the Mish family has given compassionate, understanding services to thousands of grieving families. The Mish family can provide all needs regardless of your tradition. It may be traditional funeral services or cremation, even counseling for pre-arranged funeral plans. We have 2 locations in Oildale and the Southwest just to help you, and that makes a whole lot of difference.
I'm sitting across from a person who's getting ready to write a large sum of money for an automobile, and I've purchased vehicles before, and I know exactly what they're going through. It can be nerve-wracking. The no-hassle, no-haggle price allows Saturn to be so much at ease with the customer and allows us to treat everyone so fair. It really doesn't matter whether you do a short-term lease, a long-term lease, short-term financing, long-term financing, or cash. Once you're in the Saturn family, you're in the Saturn family. I am going to see this person again. You see them at the supermarket, and you see them in a restaurant, so we want to make sure they are completely comfortable with the entire process.
Right now we have the East High Marching Band on the field starting off the halftime entertainment, followed by the homecoming parade.
Lawrence Drew from Century 21 Street Realtors, and I'd like to invite you to watch our home preview show on Tuesdays through Friday at 7 p.m. and on Saturdays at 1 p.m. That's on Channel 11. It's a showcase of homes for sale in and around Kern County with a description of the home, its location, an estimate on the monthly payment, interest rate, and cash to close. It's shopping from the convenience of your own home, so tune in to Century 21 Street Realtors home preview show and find the home of your dreams.
It's time to give these Disneyland passports away. If you can name all 7 of the dwarfs in Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, and you're the first caller to the number I'm about to give you, you win. It's that simple. Here's the number, 634-2294. 634-2294. If you can name all 7 of the dwarfs in Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, please call us right now. We are taking the first caller at 634-2294.
Renegade football on Time Warner Cable. Catch all the Bakersfield College home games exclusively on CNNSI, Channel 52. Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. with encore showings on Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. following high school football. Hard-hitting, high-scoring, that's BC football. Brought to you by Motor City and Mish Funeral Home.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. The score at this time is Foothill 21 East nothing. Here's the first touchdown for the Blades tonight.
And right there, Padilla dropped back through a corner route to Robert Johnson, who got behind Daniel Lee. He mistimed his jump, and there's Robert Johnson, who's a primetime player, with a touchdown.
But Daniel Lee did a great job on Johnson tonight, covering him one-on-one throughout the evening. In fact, he had a pick this evening. And I'll tell you what, he's the finest defensive back we have seen this year.
Yes, he's been one who's not only got in the position, but he's also made the plays. He knocked the one away from Robert Johnson, and it was a great battle to watch those two guys, young men, go at it.
Boy, he has good size at 6'2", 175. He presented some problems for Johnson.
And here's the second touchdown by East High. Draw play right up the middle, 3rd down 9. Good hard running, touchdown.
And that makes it 21-14 in favor of Foothill. And that was the final score tonight, as Britt Moody set up that touchdown with a fine pass reception over the middle. Number 6 scoring for East High.